Welcome to this series called Personal and Spiritual Growth. And today it's going to be a slow flow class with me, Ria. I have a blanket with me. We're going to do some stuff on the knees, so might be nice with some extra padding for the knees. So bring that if you have. And then take a comfortable seat on the mat, whatever it looks like. The blanket can also be used to sit on. So if you want to elevate your hip a little bit more and sit more comfortable, that might be the right choice. And then close your eyes, erect the spine towards the ceiling. Inhale and maybe sigh out. Whatever your mind is full of, you can let go of that now. Cross yoga is Christian yoga for everybody. And in Christian faith, the term holy is sometimes used. And the phrase holy actually means just set aside or put aside. So maybe now is a holy moment where you set aside time for you to connect with yourself. And maybe more importantly, connect with God, however you define God. So is there anything that you feel ashamed of, worried about? Anything that doesn't really serve you? Surrender that. Let it go maybe into God's hands, knowing that God cares and God will carry you as well. In order to grow personally and spiritually, we need space. We need room. And maybe we need to clear things out for there to be room for the new things that can grow in our bodies, souls, and minds. So let's make space as we move today on the mat. And you might begin with some calm movements of the spine, seated cat-cow. Might inhale when you take your chest to the front and exhale as you move your spine back, chin towards your chest. Do a few more seated movements, free movements if you like. You might want to go for a few twists of the spine. If you have any issues, neck, wrists, elbows, you might want to move that in the way that you know that makes sense. Now, in order to clear things out, we need to know what to clear out. Make your way into tabletop, or if you want to, already down dog, depending on where you are today. Just some free movements, down dog or tabletop. In the Old Testament, there were some guys called prophets, Jeremiah, Isaiah, some of those books that are called that after their name. They were prophets, and they were speaking on God's behalf to the rulers of that time. That would be kings, or most likely kings. And those prophets, they were speaking truth. Make your way into down dog if you haven't already. They were speaking not comfortable truth to the kings about what was just and fair, how not to exploit the people of the land, and not to do all sorts of evil stuff. Walk your feet to the top end of the mat and fold forward, maybe swaying from side to side. So those prophets were speaking to the rulers of that time, and guess how popular they were? Not popular. Most of the times they were sought after because the kings or whoever was in charge wanted them dead. Move into mountain pose. Now, people that speak truth, maybe we also have those people in our lives that sometimes speak things to our lives that we don't want to hear. Things that feel painful, that might wreck our understanding of ourselves. But how do we handle that when people speak truth to us? Do we accept it? Bring your arms out to the side and on top of your head. Lean back, cactus arms, so fingers out. Take the elbows behind the shoulder blades, lean slightly back. Standing tall again, take your hands behind you. Maybe you grasp the hands, or maybe just hold on to whatever part of the arms you can. Squeeze the shoulder blades, soften your knees, roll forward, let the hands drop as much as possible behind you. Welcome to use a strap if you like. Let go of the hands, sit into your chair pose. Bending your knees, bring your arms to the front. Leaning slightly forward with the navel engaged or tucked in a little bit. Then lean even more forward, arms out to the side. Let go of the right leg, airplane, so lean forward. Keep your balance if possible. Keep breathing. Let the fingertips reach down on the mat, or if you have blocks you want to use, you can use those. High lunge. So the right leg is back, heel off, look forward, and then lift your arms up overhead. Bending the front leg, maybe stacking it over the knee or the ankle. Open up into warrior two, so turn the back foot towards the right side if the right foot is back. Again, bending the front leg, keep the arms out, align them with the floor. Stretch the front leg, let the palms meet on top of your head. Make sure the shoulders are aligned with the long end of the mat, the hips as well. The front foot, you're going to turn that aligned with the short end of the mat, and that will of course be the same direction as the back foot there. So you come into a wide stance. And from there, lean towards the back foot. That would still be your right foot. Stretching the side. Navel in. Move back. Pivot the front foot. Align it with the long end of the mat so you can reach your hands down. Back heel off. And make your way to the top of the mat. Fold forward. Circle arms, high mountain, repeating. Cactus arms. Lean back, don't have to go that far. Shoulders squeeze the back. Tall spine, hands behind you, grasp or whatever works. Squeeze the shoulder blades, soften the knees, and then let the head drop down. Let go of the hands, chair pose. You might gonna sit low or go a little bit higher, whatever works. Bring the arms out, airplane. In this case, your left foot is gonna come back. Lean forward. Let the toes point down, elongate through the whole back of the left leg. Fingers on the floor so the left leg can come back. Slowly find high lunge, crescent lunge. Always a bit of a challenge in my body to balance up here, finding that. Breathe. Warrior 2. Back foot around, heels to heel, front heel to back arch. Gaze over the front hand. Reach the arms up overhead, and again notice where your spine tends to move. Extend the front leg. Turn the front foot there. Toes are pointing slightly in. And then one more time, leaning towards the back end of your mat. Maybe not too far. Coming up. And before we wrap this sequence up, we can do a forward fold. Wide-legged. Lift your head up, make your way into child's pose on that end of the mat that works best. Get some distance in between the knees, let the hip drop back towards the heels. So when you meet people that speak truth to you, I'm not talking about, people that just trash talk you, but people that you know, speak truth. What do? Do you become a warrior that fights back because you want to win the battle? Or do you become the victim that just breaks down and everything then that person says is just truth and you don't hold on to anything that is the truth that you know? Or maybe you just kind of listen to it, but say, I don't mind, I don't care, I don't take it in, I don't want to listen. Or what do you do? So in my life, this question becomes a prayer that I will be able to listen with humility to words that are spoken in truth to my life, about my life. Because I cannot grow in any capacity or in any way if I am not willing to look at my life and let go of what needs to let go of, cut that out. Come into tabletop. And now it might be your time to find your blanket and put it underneath your right knee. If you have another kind of padding, you can use that as well. Sorry, underneath your left knee, so that the right foot can come forward. We're going to do low plank. So knee down, left knee. And then move the whole shebang to the front a little bit, and then twist your right leg as the front, and you move towards your right side. Hovering or going further down, maybe elbow on the outside of the knee. If you push the elbow down into the knee and the knee out into the elbow, you feel the twist turn on a little bit more. Getting back, and then we're going to do mini warrior 2. So you turn the back foot or the back leg there, so the shin is aligned with the short end of the mat. The foot, I kind of take it more at the middle, and this becomes mini warrior. When you see that I'm pushing my hips slightly to the front of the mat, and then bring my arms out, you see that this is kind of the same shape as warrior 2. If this doesn't work for your knee, just find regular warrior 2, at least when we're standing here. You feel the stretch, you might feel the strength, or the lack of it, in the front leg. And then listen carefully, coming back here. Front foot, align it with the short end of the mat, pointing out to the side. We're going to do a side plank. So the back hand drops down. So the hand, the knee, and the foot is aligned with the long end of the mat. And then the top arm, you can bring it over to a C shape, maybe looking up. And release. Come back into the normal downward facing dog. So that might be actually all the way around opposite side. Shake things out in down dog. Other side. I'm talking about the prophets. And the reason why I'm talking about one of those, as you get your right knee down, is because I'm going to read just a short passage of one of these prophets. And seeing how he responds to his calling. But first, a low lunge. Arms up. You can definitely just stay here if you don't want to twist. But go for that hovering twist or that traditional twist with the elbow out. Letting go, coming back, the right foot, the knee down there, align it with the short end of the mat again. I take the front foot a little bit more in so that the front heel is aligned with the back knee. And then I drop the whole hip forward, keeping, as always, shoulders and hips aligned with the long end of the mat in this mini warrior 2. Breathe and push the front foot down, not leaning into the arch of the foot, but lifting. And then leaning back as we did before, front foot turned around. Back hand on the mat. And then drop the front or the top hand overhead, align it with the ear. Maybe gaze up or nose up. So I'm lifting my hip kind of in underneath myself and up in the same kind of movement. And then coming back. And you can take a seat on the floor, cross your legs. So the left leg might be at the bottom, the right leg is at the top. And then find your cow face. If this is not really working, any simple seated and then lean forward. You will get the same benefits. So don't force yourself into this shape. Simple seated, cross-legged, go for that. If you want a little bit more for your arms, you can take the right hand behind you, left arm underneath here. Maybe the hands can reach, or you can hold on to your clothes or a strap. So Jeremiah is what I'm going to read as we finish this class. He was a young boy when God called him. And he was a famous prophet back in the Old Testament. Let go and let's switch. So opposite leg. If you're cross-legged, do opposite or most likely what we call awkward side. And then take that seat. Now you have the blanket. You can always pop yourself up, the hip up on the blanket if you want. If you want more with the arms, take your left hand behind your right hand, or left arm up and right hand behind you. And you stay there and lean forward if you want to, but just listen in. The call of Jeremiah. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Oh, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I'm only a child. But the Lord said to me, do not say I'm only a child. You must go to everyone I sent you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Keep that story in the back of your mind as you release your legs and bring them to the front. You're going to do a forward fold. If you want to do plow, you can do that with your feet overhead. Relax your legs as you lean forward. So what does that story speak to you right now? God calling this kid, his response. I believe that God is calling all of us like he did Jeremiah. I believe that God knows every single one of us before we were born. And he has a purpose in our lives. It's just a matter if we say, nope, I'm not suited for that. I'm too young. I'm too old. I am too fill in the blanks. Jeremiah said yes and spoke the word of God to people. And if we want to grow also spiritually, we also need to say yes when there's space. When we have let go of things that doesn't serve us or serve God, we need space to say yes as well when God is calling us. You can take your blanket, fold it up to a kind of a sausage. If you have a block, you might use that as well. But sometimes this blanket is actually nicer. You put it underneath the spine. Now, if you don't want to let your head drop back, you can always take your hands behind your head like this. And then find resting pose with a little bit of a chest opener. Feet drop out, hands down behind you or at back of your head if you want. And let's rest here for a moment. So for you to grow, what do you need to say yes to? And know that you're not saying yes to do things in your own strength and by your own power. So please stay down here on the mat, and then I'll read just the last bit again. And maybe you take that to heart. The Lord says, do not say, I am only. You fill in the blanks. Go to everyone I sent you to and say whatever I command. Do not be afraid. And do not be afraid of them, because I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Let those words build faith, confidence, and trust. Stepping stones for you to grow personally and spiritually. You are welcome to stay on the mat. If you want to finish this class, you might roll onto the side and remove the blanket away from your spine. And then roll back on your back. Hug in the knees. Maybe you wiggle your toes, your ankles, stretch, yawn if you prefer. And again, if you're ready, take a seat. And if you want to read those couple of verses of this story again, it's Jeremiah 1, and I read from the NIV version here. So if there were any phrases or words that you need to keep reminding yourself about, write them down in your diary, in Post-it that you stick up in your kitchen or your bathroom or wherever, so you will stay reminded of these words. I'm looking forward to sharing the next video on spiritual and personal growth with you. Blessings on your path, and let me know comments, ideas, thoughts in the comments chats here below. I love to hear from you. Thank you.